Hello, we're going to start this lesson by keying in this information. I'm going to zoom it up a little bit to make it a little easier to see. And I have to adjust this column width so you can see that. And if you need to adjust any column widths for um, these column headings, notice how I'm doing that. I'm just clicking and dragging on the right border of the column heading. You can also double click there on those to make sure that you can view all of that information. Go ahead and pause the video now and key in this information. Okay, now once you got this information keyed in, we are going to look at how to insert some rows and columns and cells. First off, we see that we have skipped some information here, and I skipped George's age. George is 21, and I need to insert a cell and move these other two down so that Gina's age is with her and Ginger's is with her, and I have space for George's age. To insert a cell, click on the cell where you need it to be inserted, right click and choose Insert. And tell it to, in this case, we're going to shift the cells down and click OK. And notice with that, I'm going to show you that shortcut menu again. When I right click and insert, I have these four options. I can shift the cells down, which is what I chose. I can also shift cells to the right, so it would have moved it over to this direction. It would have moved everything over. Or I can tell it to insert an entire row or an entire column. In this case, I've already chosen my command. I chose Shift Cells Down and I chose OK. So I'm going to cancel now. And I shifted those cells down. And we can now key in George's age. Now, over here, I have keyed in by accident. I've duplicated some data, and I need to get rid of one of these weights. Do the same thing, right click and choose delete. And in this case, we can either shift cells over, which would bring this 66 into there. But that's not what we want to do. We want to shift cells up and get rid of one of these and bring everything else up. And you could also choose to delete an entire row or column in here. But I'm going to show you a faster way to do that. So click OK here. And you see now our information is lined up where we need it to be. Now we've left out one of our contestants here, one of our people, and we're going to add another one right above Gina. To add a row, click the row heading and right click and choose Insert. And you see that quickly adds a new row. So we can enter our data now. Alrighty, and we have entered our data. Now, let's look at inserting rows or a column. To delete or insert a column, first select it by clicking the column heading. Let's first delete this column. Right click and we're going to choose delete, and it deletes the whole column. Same thing with a row. We right click over here and we can choose delete to delete that row. Okay, undo to get that row back. And over here, let's right click and choose Insert to insert the column. And we're going to put the heading back up here. Pounds per inch. Alrighty, and press enter. So we just inserted rows, we inserted columns, we deleted a row and deleted a column, we deleted cells and we inserted cells. And all of that we can do from the shortcut menus. Now, all of these insert and delete commands can also be found on the Home tab in the Cells group. You see the insert, you can do sheet rows, sheet columns. In fact, you can also insert a sheet. Let's click that one. Click Insert Sheet. And notice now you have a new sheet named Sheet 4. Click on Sheet 1 to activate our working worksheet. You can delete and you can format row heights, column widths, and we'll talk more about those here in a minute. Okay, now let's look at adding headers and footers. Just a review, I've already made y'all learn how to do this and go through, but let me review those skills with you just to make sure you've got them under control here. To insert a header and footer, we should already know it's the Insert tab and the Header and Footer button. When you go to the Insert Header and Footer command, your view automatically changes to Page Layout View, and you'll see down here, Page Layout View. Your headers and your footers by default have 3 different cells here. You can switch between the header and footer with these buttons right here. Go to Footer, takes you to the footer. Go to Header, takes you to the header. By default, the left cell is left aligned. The centered cell, if you look, you see your insertion point blinking in the middle. It's center aligned, and your right cell is right aligned. Okay, and then look in the Header and Footer Elements group on the Design tab, and you see page number, number of page. You see these quick buttons that you can put. Let's do page number, and notice that you get a code, kind of like a format code for these, and that appear when you're in edit mode. When you are double clicked in a cell, or you're in a cell and the insertion point is blinking and you're entering data, that is called edit mode for the cell. And when you click out of the cell, that code no longer shows. It actually shows the data. And if you click over here on page 2, you see page 2 shows in the header. Click in the next cell, that becomes the active cell, and it's in edit mode. Current time can be put in, and current date. Go to the footer, and you've got in the center box, you can add the file path. And notice this is a lot easier than in Word. We've got one button. In Word, we had to go to Quick Parts, search for file name, and then check the Add Path button. All we need here is the file path, and it shows that it's going to show the path and the file name with one click. Click out of that cell, and you should see your path and file name. Now, we've not saved this document yet, or this spreadsheet yet, so we will it'll say probably book 1 or book 2, whichever is the depending on whether or not you've opened a workbook today already or not, or have another one currently open. Alrighty, so that's headers and footers, and remember, the elements are found on the Design tab. You can do a different first page if you don't want the header to show on the first page. You can choose different odd and even pages, where the odd and even pages would go back and forth showing the header or not. Alright. that is it for headers. So next we will talk about formatting cells, ranges, and worksheets. So let's click out of here and let's return to normal view. Go down here on the status bar, locate your view buttons, and click the normal view button. And we're back to normal view. Notice if you have a dotted line, that is the indicator for where your page would break when printed. Okay, now I mentioned this sales group before, and I told you there is some formatting that you can do. The number group, alignment group, font group, these also allow you to do a lot of formatting, as well as the styles group. So, we're going to work with each of these groups. Let's first format font size and color. Select range A1 through G1. And let's go to the font group, and the font color button is right here. And let's change it to a dark blue. In the font dialog box, we can launch the font dialog box. It's taking mine a little bit to load here. Okay, I'm going to click on the number tab, and I'm going to choose currency. I'm going to choose time. Okay, so you look and you can see this is actually, these are all going to be text. So let's choose text for these. These are our labels. What I've got highlighted here are labels. They are not numerical, they're alphanumeric, and they are only going to be used to explain data. They're not going to be used in calculations. And so they are text. And let's click the alignment tab here. And we're going to have general alignment. And actually, I can rotate the orientation of this text in the cell. And I'm going to show you a button that you can do that with as well. Let's go to, this is what the vertical alignment is. And you can choose vertical alignment to be top, center, bottom, justified, or distributed. And we're going to choose bottom. We can tell it to wrap text in the cell, shrink to fit within the cell, and merge cells. We can use a merge cell in here. Now, we're not going to merge these cells because that wouldn't make sense, but that is a option that you can choose. And click OK. And you see we did the little rotate on there, and we changed, made sure the alignment stayed to bottom. And let me show you, let's go back in there, the font, go to the alignment, and let's choose center alignment and click OK. And you see that aligns it in the center between the top and bottom margins when we go in there and go in that vertical alignment there. Okay, we can also, in the font group, we can apply cell borders. So we can click a bottom border on that. If we want a thicker border, we can go to line style, choose a thicker border. And of course, if you're looking there, you can do more borders if you want to customize even further. But I'm going to put on this here, this thicker border. And you're allowed to draw it in right there. To get out, notice your cursor has changed to a pencil. To get out, all you have to do is press the escape key. And that accepts those changes. Now, let's select this information and let's fill that information. The fill color is right here, and let's fill it with a lighter blue. Let's select all of this area and let's add borders. Click on the border button, go into more borders, and we don't want to do a thick, we don't want to remove our thick border, we just want to add the inside borders. So let's do a smaller border for the inside borders. And then also for the bottom left and right by clicking those buttons there. When you've made those changes, click OK. Click off and you see you've got your borders. Now let's take care of this information here and go to the borders button, and we want to apply the we want to go to a thick box border. And let's also do the inside borders. So we need to go to more borders and do inside. Choose this smaller line, do inside, and click OK. Notice when we have the text rotated, our borders will also be slanted to match our text. Now, look at our horizontal alignment. Our horizontal alignment is right here, and our vertical alignment is right here. These are our alignment buttons. We've got top, centered, and bottom. Let's change it to bottom. And we've got left, which is what it is, centered, and right. In this case, let's center it horizontally. This rotate button lets you quickly apply the rotation and change the rotation if you want to. Let's change it to let's change the orientation to angle clockwise. And let's with that, we need to adjust the size of column A so that we've got our heading is showing completely. Alrighty, now click in any cell down here and you can see how this is going to look. Alright, let's click down here and let's select these cells, and we're going to merge these cells. Merge means to make several cells combined into one. To merge cells, click on the Home tab in the Alignment group, click the Merge and Center drop-down arrow. If you choose Merge and Center, that combines all of the cells and turns on center alignment. If you just do Merge Across, which is what we're going to do, it will merge the cells yet keep the left alignment. We're going to type in a little note about what our chart is showing here. And press enter, and you see that that is all merged. Now when you pressed enter, notice that we don't have a border on that cell, so let's go back up here, go to the borders button and do outside borders, and that applied actually a thick outside border. if we want to change the thickness of that border to match the rest of to match the rest of our table there, we could let's see here if we can go to line style there and change that. And use our pencil. And there we go. And I need to escape out of there now. Click on this one. I accidentally clicked there and added that. So to take it off, I can just do that right there. No border. Right there. And then add that back on. So I had to do a little fixing there to fix my mistake. But that's what you do if you make an error, which humans do, right? You just find ways to fix it. And we have now added some fill to our table. To our spreadsheet cells. And we have added some formatting. Okay. Now, if you remember, we added this sheet right here. Just to review how to get rid of a sheet, you can go to the Delete tab and choose Delete Sheet. We can also rename the sheets by right-clicking on the Sheet tab and then clicking Rename. And let's name this Fitness Info. And you can press Enter to accept that change. We can format sheet tabs. You can right click and choose tab color and make it a particular color. You can move sheets by clicking and dragging on the sheets to a new location. I'm just clicking and dragging here. I'm going to move it back into first position though. Let's at this time click on cell C1. Now we're in column C right here. Click right up here. And this weight, if you look, this is cell C1 and we've kind of rotated it a little bit. But you can tell it says C1 in the name box and it says weight in the formula bar. We're going to edit this and we're going to type this in beginning weight. To accept that change, you can click the check mark there on the formula bar, or you can press enter. Either one works. So we are going to name that beginning weight. And let's name this, let's insert a column. So click on column D or anywhere in column D and choose insert. If you clicked in column D, you have to choose entire column and click OK. Alternatively, you could have right-clicked on column D heading and chosen insert. Both ways will insert a new column. And we're going to name this one, cell D1, we're going to type in. And it is going to be called current weight. And we're going to insert another column. And this one, cell E1, is now going to be called pounds gained or lost. And we're going to type in some current weights. Okay. And then here at the end, we're going to add another row. I'm sorry, another column. We don't need to insert it. We're just going to type into it. And we're going to call this 10 pound loss bonus. And we're going to go to a new line. To go to a new line within a cell, we're going to do Alt and the Enter key. So hold down Alt and press Enter. And that takes us to a new line. That's kind of like a line break within the cell. And we're going to type in $10 per pound. And actually, I just want to call this pounds lost bonus. And we've got $10 per pound, and I made a mistake here. Let me put the parenthesis here and take it out here. There we go. 10 pound or pounds lost bonus. $10 per pound. And I'm going to press enter. Now, we are going to enter a formula. Pounds gained or lost. To enter a formula, you press the equal sign, and we're going to use cell references. To reference a cell, what we need to do is we're going to take the current weight minus the beginning weight to find out if we've gained pounds or lost pounds. So we're going to reference the current weight. We're going to subtract the beginning weight and press enter. Now we've got a formula. If you click back on this, this shows we have a positive 8 here. We have gained weight. If you look at the formula bar, the underlying formula displays in the formula bar while the result displays in the actual cell. To copy this formula down, we can use the fill handle, and we only have to enter the formula once. So let's copy the formula down, and we have quickly entered a formula and copied it that shows or that figures how much weight was won or gained or lost by our teammates here, our team members. So we start at 182. We currently weigh 190, so we are up 8 pounds. George started at 170. He's now at 170. I'm sorry, he started at 174. He's now at 170, so he is down 4 pounds. Okay, so that shows how many pounds are gained or lost. Pounds per inch. Let's edit this. To go into edit mode to a cell, double click on the cell, and we're going to do pounds lost. Per inch. And this, if you know anything about your mathematical terms, when you have per, that typically means there's some division going to go on. So pounds lost per inch. And this is going to be a division. All formulas start with the equal sign. In Excel, when you tell it to start a formula, you always type in the equal sign. And we're going to say how many pounds did we lose per inch. So that will be pounds divided by inches. So click on the pounds to pick up the E2 cell reference. Division is the slash symbol, and we will pick up then per inch. Press enter. And then let's click on that cell, use the fill handle, and copy that formula down. Calories burned and calories consumed. We aren't going to track this any longer, so we are going to click on H and I. I can select H and drag over to I to select both of those at the same time. And then I'm going to press my delete key. Oh, click OK. H and I, delete. Okay, it's not going to let me do it because I have this cell merged down here. So let me see if I can delete H separately. Yes, and then delete it again. So since I had this down here merged, it wouldn't let me select both of those and delete them at the same time. Normally you can do that. Okay. Okay, now we're going to also put a formula here. Pounds lost bonus, $10 per pound. And we're going to do equal sign. And we're going to say pounds lost or gained. And we're going to multiply times $10 per pound. So we're going to multiply. That is the asterisk. So it's Shift 8 or it's above the number 9 on your keypad. So we're multiplying the pounds gained or lost times $10. Then press enter. And then let's copy this formula down. Now to me, this information is backwards. So there should be a positive reward for losing weight and maybe a negative, maybe they're paying in to the fund if they've gained weight. Or maybe they get nothing at all. So let's change our formula so that at least these numbers are positive. To edit a formula, click in the cell. We can double click in the cell. And let's say we need this to be switched from being positive to a negative. So let's just multiply one of these by a negative. Add in the negative sign. Press enter. And then copy this down. And you will see that now our values are opposite. Those gaining weight get negative money. Those losing weight get positive money. Okay. Now, this is supposed to be money, right? It's $10 per pound bonus. Boy, I wish this really would be. I might lose some weight this way. But here we go. We're going to go to the number group. And there are a few ways to format money. Quick way, we can use the accounting button. If you click it, click the down arrow, you can see that you can choose different denominations such as the English pound or the European euro. And then there are a whole lot more formats that you can choose from by going into that dialog box there that I just clicked. Let me show you that again. If you click the down arrow and go into more accounting formats, you get a lot more options. Okay, you can click the button. The accounting format, notice that the negative numbers are in parentheses. They're in parentheses. Okay, another way we can go in, we can format is this drop down box right here. And you can do currency. If you do currency, the dollar signs are right up next to the numbers, and the negative signs are on the outside of the dollar sign. Notice accounting lines the dollar signs up to the left, and it also moves your numbers just a fraction over from the right margin. Let me show you again. Currency, notice how those numbers move up right up next to that margin. And with accounting format, they move out just a little bit. We're going to, if you've clicked off because I was clicking, go ahead and click that accounting format to turn that on. Now we can go in here and we can do more number formats. And you can see you can change the symbols. You can change decimal places. Since it's going to be an even whole dollar amount, we're not going to allow any decimals or cents. We're going to keep it at 0 for whole dollar amounts and click OK. Now, another place to change the decimal points, if we want to change or allow decimals, is right here. Notice the increase and decrease decimal buttons. Click the increase decimal button twice, and you notice you get your cents back. And it'll keep adding decimal places as many times as you click it. The decrease decimal button decreases. And of course, you can only decrease down to whole number amounts. Okay. And when we were increasing, it automatically adjusted our column width for us, didn't it? Okay, now let's work with these pounds lost per inch. And let's decrease the decimals down to 2 decimal places on that. We'll round it to the nearest hundredth. Let's adjust column G's width just a little bit. Click that right column heading. Let's, okay, there we go. Now, we know how to copy and paste. We did copy and paste in the last lesson. But let's work with Paste Special. Let's select column G. And let's open the clipboard. And I've got stuff on there, so I'm going to clear my clipboard because I've been working around. And now I'm going to go and I'm going to copy column G. Now, if I move over to column H and I hit paste, that is going to replace column H. So when I copy column H, and notice to copy to column H, I really only need to be in this first cell. Click in cell H1 and hit paste. And when you do, when you paste it, it writes over or overwrites whatever's in those cells for the size of whatever range you copied. And that is not what we want to do. We don't want to replace our data. So I'm going to go and I'm going to undo that. Hit the undo button. So we got our column H back. But we do have a lot of paste options. Click on the paste drop down arrow and we are going to go down here in paste, other paste options, and we're going to choose the one that says formatting. And notice that our column H now is formatted just like the rest of the document, but it has its data. Then I'm going to go ahead and change the numbers back to currency. Okay, now let's work with formatting cell styles. We can format cell styles with the Cell Styles button. Select A1 through H1. and then click the Cell Styles button. And we can choose a style. Choose a style of your choosing here. Okay. And let's select this range and let's clear the formatting on this range. Let's go to the clear button and let's choose clear formats. And now let's copy this one. Select this range. Choose copy. Click here. Go to paste. Go to paste special and paste the formatting. And now our borders look just like this, and it is formatted to look like the rest of this data here. Now, there is also, if you look at this button, conditional formatting. Conditional formatting is a neat way to identify specific data or make data stand out to help you make decisions. Now, anybody over or anybody with positive money here is going to get a reward. They're going to get their money. And anybody with negative money, we're not really going to make them pay in, but we are not going to reward them. So conditional formatting can help us easily identify who needs to be rewarded. So conditional formatting, let's go here. Let's first, I didn't say this, select this range. Then go to the conditional formatting. And we're going to, there are cell rules, greater than, less than, between, equal to if you want a specific value. You can also look for certain text. You can look for values that are duplicated within the range. Top bottom rules, the top 10, the bottom 10, above average, below average. Color scales. Now the data bars kind of make it look like a bar graph. And that one's kind of neat. You can mouse over these to see your live preview there. Color scales. But we are going to go with the highlight cell rules, and we're going to do greater than. So anybody that is greater than 0, we're going to fill. We're going to format them. And we're going to do, there are some presets here. Let's do a custom format though, because that's kind of fun. And let's fill it with a bright green. Do that color green. And the font I'm going to make also a dark green. And I'm going to make it bold. Let's do bold italics. And click OK. And OK again. And when you click off of that range, you see that all of the positives are now green with green fill. Now let's go over here and say, Greg, well, before we change any of our data, let's go ahead and do conditional formatting on our pounds gained or lost. And this would be a great one to see who's ahead by using that data bars. Let's use the data bars here. And just choose one of your liking. I guess I'm going with a green theme here. And this is your data bar, so it automatically, or real easily helps you identify who's in the lead, who's lost the most weight. Now let's say Greg, we come back, we reevaluate, and Greg now is he changes and he's now at 176. Okay, notice his data bar changes and his bonus is now there. Alrighty, so that is conditional formatting. Let's go and we can click this range. To remove conditional formatting, you can select the cell or select the range, go to clear rules, and you can either do clear rules from selected cells, or you can choose to clear rules from the entire sheet, and that clears them from the entire sheet. Now I'm going to undo twice to get those rules back because I do want those on there. And let's go ahead. We've done a lot of work to this. And I should have said this at the beginning. Let's save this file and then save that.